one of the bastions of local comedy, who's gone on to do great things all over Australia. Please welcome Justin Hamilton.
Look at you. You look like you're recording from the inside of a golf ball, Scott. Like, what's that is impressive.
Yeah, it's my little version of the Epcot Centre.
Yeah, I love it. By the way, that concert footage, Charlie Chaplin was a good call. It was also a little bit Don Bradman. You know what I mean? All just a bit like, and don't the kids love him? He hates the Catholics. Something like that. Yeah.
It was a bit Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
I think it's because they were doing the ABC theme tune, so that they had to be old school. So.
Yeah, I get it, though. You only want to, if you're going to record anything, you only want to record a little bit, because people who just sit there watching their phone for 2.5 hours, you're right. There's no point going to the concert. You could save all that money and actually get a better version that'll be uploaded to YouTube at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, the worst thing is you actually start looking at the band through their lens as well, which you get drawn to. It's like, wait a second, why am I seeing a tiny version where I can actually, if you just piss off, you actually see them
right there.
Yeah. I always think that when you see people with cameras at Glastonbury, because it's broadcast on the BBC from 20 different angles.
Yeah.
Just like watch it on playback when you get home, and
that's right.
You don't have to. It's being recorded.
Yeah, you want to be present with stuff. Do you know what I mean? Especially with concerts costing so goddamn much money now. Like, if I go to a concert, I don't like. If someone talks to me, I'm like, you can cough. Do you know what I mean? Because you just cost me $29 with that comment. That was uninteresting.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like, it's just, you just want to be there in the moment and just and live it for what it is. It's,
and did it make you feel young? Did you feel fired up? Feel the youth?
Oh, it did, mate. I was just like, just going, yeah. And of course, my favourite song, Triantula, came on as their encore, and I was like,
great.
Oh, this is so bloody good. This is this is amazing.
Good.
So, and,
it
was good to see a whole bunch of people my age bringing their kids and stuff to them.
Yes,
as well. So it was literally awesome to see.
Are you getting that with your gigs now? Because my gigs on Friday and Saturday, my friends were turning up with their 15-year-old sons, and the sons are bringing their girlfriends, and I'm on stage like at some point talking about how I've been getting into asexual porn, and then looking at the mum going, I'm so sorry, but you've known me for a long time, and it's still high concept, and when I do the act out, nothing happens, but I'm just even sorry that I'm saying the words sexual and porn, even though I know this punchline's going to be clean.
And it's going, I just wanted to make sure they're not my kid.
Yeah, no, they definitely not. They had much better hairlines. It's a dead giveaway.
Yeah. The problem is most babies come out looking like me, so that's the worst thing about it.
You're constantly panicking. But I did have one of my friend's sons tell me that he found the show extremely funny and informative.
Oh, that's good. You should put that on a poster.
Yep. I impressed a 15-year-old, so that felt like a win.
Doing a school project or something.
Can we go into a bit of history with you, Dr. Hamilton? You started.
Hamilton.
I don't know.
We're after a 6 certificate for tomorrow, if that's okay.
I can help. Do they accept it in crayon? That's my only question.
I'm totally fine, mate. Totally good.
So you were one of the first people to start out Adelaide Comedy. Did you start it with? We were talking to Limo about this, but did you and Limo start Adelaide Comedy together?
Yeah, so basically what happened was that there was comedy in Adelaide through the 90s. There were a couple of different venues. The venue I started at and that Limo started at, which was Bolt's Cafe on Rundle Street. That was that was kind of a little bit more alternative comedy and a little bit more down with the kids kind of thing. And then that just kind of, you know what it's like. Scenes rise and fall, things move on, people continue, people disappear, blah, blah, blah. And then the scene started to fall towards the end of 99. And then there was a venue at the end of 99, beginning of 2000, which was PJ O'Brien's.
Yeah.
And I had made a deal with myself because I was in a duo called the Bunta Boys from 94 to 99. And I
Damien, right?
With Damien. Yeah, don't say his last name. He's got a proper job now. Name. No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for all of us.
Oh, good.
They go on to real jobs. They don't like to have the shadow of the past cast across them.
That's why I'm called Big Al for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not Big or Al.
Yeah, that's right.
You see him in person, he's tiny. He's about that big. Fits in your little pocket. But so the Bunta Boys got from 94 to 97. I reckon we were kind of like that. We were going, we were improving out of sight. We were touring, and we should have moved to Melbourne like mid 97. But we kind of, if you miss your window to moving, it just doesn't happen. Yeah. So and then of course the duo petered out. Beginning of 99, I went overseas for a while, came back, and decided, well, I've got to reinvent myself as a stand-up comedian. And I was going to move to Melbourne. And then the people running PJ O'Brien's weren't running it very well. And they were going to, they got rid of the person who had, in their defense, started it, but had also run it into the ground. I don't know if you remember those days. Sometimes those 8 o'clock shows would start at 10:30.
Yeah. Look, I started off there, and so I had and I think I mentioned it last time. I was like, I actually owe Limo an apology because I did a terrible job, and then Limo goes, look, that laugh goes to Big Al, and it was because it was like, no, just do your 5 minutes, and only your 5 minutes. Don't deviate from your raw comedy set ever. Yeah. And it was you who come along and went, you know, you can deviate from that, and you can do it better. And when you and Limo took over, it was like, and I thank you and Limo, because otherwise I just would be still doing my 5 minutes raw comedy set. So.
Oh yeah, how wild is that though? Could you imagine? Could you imagine doing the material? But you know what? No. I got to be honest. I still do the Apollo 13 joke, but I have, and that's from 95. That's the longest relationship I've ever had.
I love it.
I spooned with Apollo 13, but I've reinvented it. Like it's had different contexts, and it disappears for years and years and years, and then it comes back in a different context. But anyway,
I can't do Barney the Purple Dinosaur anymore, so I think you're at least
he'll be back.
He'll be back. Come on, mate. That's IP. It all comes back at some point. It'll be fine.
Yeah, wait till I've got high blood pressure. It's not too long. It's not too long.
No. But so what happened? They moved this person out, and they offered they offered me the job, and I said, I'm going to be moving to Melbourne, but why don't you offer it to Limo? And then they offered it to Limo, and then Limo called me, and he taught me around. He said, I think this will be a really good opportunity, and I think we should do it. So it was a pretty good in-depth chat, and I saw the logic in it, and so I kind of made a deal with myself. I'd stick around for 2 years, and that's what I did. So we started running PJs, and then soon after that, I'd been offered the Rhino Room a couple of times, but I loved the venue, but I wasn't really that into the clientele. Not the comedians, but you know, some of the people that would go and watch. A lot of dudes not wearing shoes, drinking cheap wine, and talking all the way through gigs. And I was like, I remember saying to Charlie and Mick at the time, who offered me Rhino, I'd have to lose this clientele. And Mick leant over and put his hand on my knee and said, would you? I said, do you want me to get rid of them? And he went, yeah, they're my friends. I don't know how to do it. I said, I'll do it. So that's how it kind of kicked off.
Yeah. And PJ's was massive on a Tuesday night. That was the sort of raucous night where, you know, you'd have people hanging off rafters some nights. It was absolutely chockers, wasn't it, when it was at its peak?
It's kind of blows your mind to look back on it, but we used to average over 200 on a Tuesday night. And then when we'd have like the big interstate acts, we'd be like 450 or something, and then we'd be turning 150 people away. And then Rhino was the indie gig. I always used to think of PJs as the stadium show, and then you do Unplugged at Rhino, and it was good because it kind of taught you how to be. You taught you how to be big and be concise with words and be able to perform to a larger audience, and then you learn how to dial it down and be able to work a different size room. So it was a pretty wild time. It was hard to leave. Like, I made that deal to do it for 2 years, and it was really hard to leave at the end of that 2 years because it was so great.
Right. Was it only 2 years? It felt longer.
Well,
that was when we started out.
Yeah, I still ran the Rhino room during the Fringe up until about 2008. And in 2007, Charlie Pickering and I put on a Adelaide Comedy Festival, because that was back when the Fringe was every 2 years. So we did that 1 year, if you remember, where we had 18 shows and every Adelaide act was doing support for all the people that we brought over, and we did that over 3 weekends, and that was really successful. And then the Fringe went yearly, and that kind of killed that. But then, so I ran Rhino up until about 2008, but then I still ran the Late Show up until about 2011.
And so what's going on, bringing it up to modern days? What's going on in Hamo's world in 2026?
2026, what am I doing? That is a good question. Well, are my enemies listening? Okay, I'll still tell you anyway. Look, living in Sydney, and it's great because I've always wanted to spend $3,500 on rent every 15 seconds, and I'm living the dream. I'm only 24. Look at me. It's stressing me out beyond belief.
You look like a smoker. It's,
yeah. Maybe I am, and I didn't know. I'm just,
it could be. It's
just walking around dazed all the time. I've been getting back into stand-up recently, which has actually been good. I had to be honest, I have a bit of a push-pull relationship with stand-up over the last 10 years. But I just did that run in Adelaide, which was such a last-second moment, and I really came down because I was directing Jenny Tian's show and writing for with Alexi Toliopoulos, and their shows were both opening, and this schedule just kind of opened up, and I thought I'll come down, and then it was suddenly like, oh, I can do 2 works in progress, and we hosted the Late Show on Saturday night, and I called in some favors and got some of the old school comedians up there like Gleason and Limo and Rove and all of that. So it was great. Yeah, it kind of was a real lot of fun. But I'm working on TV on a TV show called The Chase Australia, which is you're across that. It's one of those things where I just don't know what people know and don't know anymore. So I'm the Chaser producer. I produce the Chasers, and I sit there with them while Larry interviews the contestants, and then I try to write things that you can say between 5 and 6 p.m.
Yeah.
That's the tough part, isn't it?
Fantastic.
No, but mate, it can be tough. But I have to be honest, sometimes, depending on that, they actually let me get away with so much more than you would expect. Like, we had a guy on who got interviewed who told Larry that he spent 24 hours working on a brisket. And with the super nerd, who's such an innocent character, I wrote the line, it's 24 hours on a brisket. Like, that's amazing. I'm exhausted after I spent an hour on my salami. And it's... You know what? Between 5 and 6 p.m., that's going to land for some people, and for a lot of. And I get you say it straight. Say the line straight. Don't add anything to it. So it's just innocent. Like, you don't want anyone who shouldn't realize that the super nerd is making a wanking joke to realize it. Yeah. But people get like, oh, they get it, kind of thing. So they let me get away with a little bit more.
As a person who smokes, mate, if you're doing 24-hour brisket, you're doing it wrong. It's
oh, really? Yeah. Mate, I don't know. I'm a vegetarian. I didn't even know if salami was the right metaphor. I was going to go cabanossi.
Mate, you got the Italian voters in, which is good.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. They still watch. They still watch free to air. It's good. We had some pretty wild times back then, like when the three of us were doing gigs, and it was incredibly creative. I reckon that's what I really loved about those early years. Always writing new material, always throwing out new ideas. I still laugh at your Ted Danson book.
Yeah, right.
So good.
Yeah,
such great.
I pulled it out recently. It doesn't work anymore because he's gotten too cool. He's too cool now.
Yes.
But back in the day, it was a bit daggy, so it doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah, it was in between. Cheers had finished, Becker had finished, so it was kind of perfect. It was a little bit on the way out, but he hadn't done the Good Place yet to get him back in.
Right. Yes.
It was the window to do a Ted Danson book.
Yeah.
Yeah, my day will come again. He'll get back there. So will Barney the dinosaur.
He will get to Gary Busey status very soon, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I did say to Lemo last week, and so to you, mate. It's like, if it wasn't for you and Lemo, I wouldn't be where I am. You guys really pushed those comedians at those times and went, look, I'll give you stage time every week. You just need to come up with 3 minutes at least. New, and you really pushed and yourself and Lemo, and look, for me to have mentors like yourself and Lemo, and to see your careers now, like it was great. Like it was just amazing to actually have that kind of that kind of mentorship from you both. It was great, and I literally would probably stop doing comedy by now if it wasn't for you guys, because you really pushed us all and got us to where we all are. So thank you.
That's very nice of you. You know, it was what we were taught. Like when we first started at Bolts, the deal was when you were doing open mic, you did new. You just did new. Because if you have a repeat audience, if your new doesn't work, they know you're doing new. So they kind of like they give you a leeway. And then when you were doing like a headline spot or a support spot or you're emceeing, the audience is trained to know, oh, they're doing the paid spot, so now they're doing their best. So I remember I used to have new material. My God, it's so nerdy. I used to have new material on a 10-week rotation.
Yep.
Established material on a 10-week rotation, and I used to have new material on a 6-week rotation. So if I did something new and I thought, oh, there's something to this, I'd bring it back 6 weeks later because it's still fresh and people aren't quite across it. And then the 10-week stuff would, really pan it out. So if it came up, at least people were going, I haven't heard that for 3 months, rather than I haven't heard that for 3 minutes,
Yeah, right.
So, and then you'd go to Melbourne and you'd go to Sydney, then you'd do all of your best material. And then invariably, because you were doing it in different places, it would get better. And then eventually when you brought it back, even when people saw a routine they were seeing that they'd seen before, they were getting a different muscular version of it. But there was I know some people used to get pretty shitty with me because I was Lemo's Lemo, but I was more the hard ass with that kind of
cop,
stuff.
Bad cop, sort of. Yeah. But you did reward good behavior, I recall. If we got up and did all new and it was all right, then we'd be rewarded with more gigs. But vice versa, if we were just doing the same old stuff, you'd go, you can have 3 weeks off to think of some new stuff.
Well, because the audience would. You had to think about the audience, you had to think about the overall show, and if they you saw what happened once that kind of let go. It's once the audience can sing along with the routines that have been doing week after week after week, the audiences go.
Right.
That's right.
You never want to give them permission to leave, and that was the other thing was keeping to time, because if the show finished at about around 10. If people stayed until midnight on a Tuesday, that was their choice. And then they would still come the next week, or they'd go straight home. But if the show went like to 11, then the next week people would be like, it's too late, I'm not going. And then if they don't go 1 week, they might not go the second week. They might not go the third week.
Yeah.
Very true.
Well, you must come back again. We've got so much more to talk about, but we have other guests, and our consult is over, Dr. Hamilton.
Yes, so. Well, it looks like you both have a bowler, and I will get those certificates sent right over.
Thank you very much. It's
no worries. Thank you. All right, we'll catch up with you soon. Will you come back?
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon I will be back there. I reckon a certain person we know is turning 50. And they will be turning 50 very soon. And I think there will be a very specific 50th birthday celebration the day before their birthday, of which I reckon we will all be performing at.
Yeah,
yes,
hopefully.
it should be good. It should be good. So,
I'm talking as if you know what I'm talking about, but there's a distinct possibility you're going, Justin's had a stroke.
It's Craig Egan. I wasn't sure if we were allowed to say who it was.
I don't know if we are too, but he'll be. It's 10:25. He's got another hour and a half before he can put his kids to bed.
Yeah, you're totally right. I thought you were talking about me, and I was like, do I look that old already? It's
no, you've got another 35 years. You're fine. The tiny people always age slower. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah. You're totally right. Yeah. It's just we'll eventually get there.
Yeah. Thank you, Hamo. We'll catch up with you soon.
Great. Right. Thanks for having me, guys. Look after yourselves. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.